What is going on, you guys? If you're new to streaming or YouTube content creation, you're most likely in the market for a boom arm. You do not want to use one of those $20 ones on Amazon, trust me. People ask me all the time, Kevin, what is a good boom arm for my setup? I'm new, I want something that'll hold my mic, be reliable, be adjustable, maybe hide my mic cable a little bit. And three models always pop into my head. The Rode PSA-1, $100. The Blue Compass, also $100. And the Gator Frameworks, which retails for $130. I have the Blue Compass here. This has been my daily boom arm for 2.5 years. I did get a brand new one right here. This is for my buddy who's getting started streaming. So I'm getting him all set up with everything he needs. And he agreed to let me unbox this bad boy, as I never did an unboxing when I had mine brand new. We're going to see everything that comes in the box, go through an initial setup as well as how to adjust it, as it is a little bit tricky. And I'm going to show you guys some of the pros and cons of this boom arm. Let's get it. Alrighty guys, like I mentioned in the intro, I have been using the Blue Compass for about 2.5 years myself. That is my personal one. I just removed it from the base there. Since we're going to set up this new one over here. Now, I did buy it as the Yeticaster package. So let me turn this sucker over. Bam, give us a little light, boys. Now, I do think buying all three of these together in a package is a good deal, considering it's $200 for these three items, as it would be $100 for the boom arm, $50 for the Radius 3 shock mount, and then another $130 for the Blue Yeti, coming out to a total of $280 individually. However, if you already have your own microphone, whether that's USB or XLR or condenser or dynamic, does not matter, this will work with any of them. And honestly, the shock mount I'm probably going to be selling or giving to someone that is going to make better use out of it, because I didn't really notice that big of a difference. And this is kind of a high-end shock mount, being $50 here. Honestly, with the little tip or trick, the bro tip that I'm going to show you in this video, you won't even need a shock mount. And that's money you can save for other parts of your setup or your PC build. I do really like the Blue Yeti. I think it is one of the best, if not the best, USB microphones on the market, especially for the purposes of YouTubing, podcasting, and streaming. I will do a separate review on this explaining the pros and very, very few cons with this microphone, but that's not what it's about. Don't buy that. Do buy that. Do buy that. We're going to unbox the Compass right now, see what comes in the box, get her set up, and do a little sound check. Alrighty guys, over here at the unboxing station, going to go ahead and break into the Blue Compass over here. And yes, $100 is not cheap for something that you can get for $18 on Amazon. However, I started with one of those cheap, generic, nameless little boom arms from Amazon, and I will say I would never, ever, ever, ever go back to a cheap boom arm after using the Compass. Now, you don't necessarily have to get the Blue Compass. You could get, like I said, the Rode PSA-1 or the Gator Frameworks, but get yourself a good boom arm. All right, so you're obviously going to have your clamp for your desk. This is what the base is going to drop into here. It is padded on one side and one side only, which I'm not a huge fan of. I will say that right now. This side right here is just exposed metal. This top side has a very, very soft rubberized material, and that's fantastic, but I do believe they should have a little pad of rubber or some kind of grippy material right there, because you don't want to be scratching up your desk and whatnot. Also, if they could make a low-profile version of this, that would be great, because with my desk here, there's only certain spots that I can actually clamp onto, because this sticks out so far that it actually hits this little overhanger lip on my desk. And I just feel like if they were to offer this piece right here, the stem, in a shorter version that wouldn't stick out as far, like a low profile version, that would be beneficial. So again, rubberize this, low profile version in the box, a second stem here that people can use if they have a desk that has tight clearances. This is your compliance and warranty information. I did not save mine, but Blue is pretty good about honoring their warranties. If you have a receipt, like your digital Amazon confirmation, or you bought it at Walmart.com or something, if you have digital proof that you did purchase this legally and didn't buy it from some guy in the back alley or on the black market, they generally will hook you up with replacement parts if something breaks in here, or if it's completely blown out, they'll just send you a brand new one. Blue is pretty good about their customer service. And then you have your instruction manual over here. It is black and white, no color. However, English is the primary language, good font, very clear and easy to understand. It gives you clear instruction as to how to adjust this. However, Reading instruction manual is cool and all, but I prefer to watch video tutorials and whatnot, so I'm going to show you guys exactly how to adjust this bad boy for whatever weight your microphone is, because I notice when I go for my Blue Yeti, which is a very heavy USB microphone, when I go to something like the Fifine or the Shure MV5, which actually is recording my voice right now, which is extremely light, probably about 1/8 of the weight of the Blue Yeti, this thing is a little finicky if you don't adjust her correctly, so we're going to go over that. They do also walk you through how to set up the Radius 3 shock mount if we are going to use that option. We are not. I will show you guys how to hook it up. It's very, very simple, but we are not going to use it, as like I said, you really don't need it. If you're gonna utilize the tip that I'm going to show you, you won't need a shock mount. To actually adjust the tension on the Blue Compass boom arm, a lot of people think it's for these levers here on the side. It actually is not. So these are just to lock into place. Whenever you found the position that you want, you'll turn these, and that will lock it in place. You still can move it, but it'll make it harder to move, obviously. If you jack them down really, really tight, you will not be able to move it with your hand. And if you do actually try and force it, you can snap the mechanisms, especially in the center here. This one is prone to breaking from what I've heard. I haven't had that issue, but that's because I paid attention to the instructions and watched some tutorials before I actually started using this thing. But a lot of people that just get this thing, they're thinking, God, this thing is hard to move, because they adjust it they crank down these levers here, and then they go to adjust their mic, and this thing snaps, and it's kind of a B word to replace. You either have to contact Blue to get a replacement part or 3D print your own part that's inside of here, which isn't great. So you have 3 of those mechanisms. You have one right here, one in the center, and then one right here, which is going to be for your actual mount for whatever your mount or adapter for whatever microphone you're using. So if you are using a shock mount like the Radius 3, or if you're just going to have a microphone mounted directly on here to have it hanging above your head vertically, or maybe you want it out horizontally in front of your mouth, you can do all of that. There is also this nice little cable tray up here, which lets you run your wire for your USB or XLR microphone neatly in here, which is great. You don't have to worry about Velcro ties or cable ties or anything like that. It's all ran through this channel here. They say in their instruction manual you can do it with your fingernail, but you're going to break your fingernail off. Just use a screwdriver or a knife or something to pop these things out, especially the first time. They're really brittle, and you will break your fingernail off trying to mess with that. But to actually adjust the tension, what you're going to do is loosen all of these, not all the way out to where this cap pops out, but just loose enough to where everything can move around. And then on the bottom here, guys, there's a little Phillips head right here. Now moving this to the left, or counterclockwise, will make it easier to move by giving it less tension. Moving it to the right will increase tension, thus making it more difficult to move. So what does this mean? If you have a heavier microphone, like for example the Blue Yeti, which is not a light microphone, then you might want to go tighter to give it a little more tension to stay in place. And if you go to the left, you are going to get less tension. So if you have a very light microphone like the Shure MV5 that's recording me right now, you can utilize that. Now what I do, I'm going to back it out a little bit, is I usually put on the microphone I'm going to be using, try and set it to the position that I would like by default, lock these into place, and then see if the microphone moves on its own, which we're going to do right now, guys. Alrighty guys, so as you can see with no microphone on it, if you let go of it, boom, it's just going to spring right back. Be careful, it'll get you. Also, this is what I was talking about. This thing just barely clears my top drawer here, and also I can only clamp it on right here on the end. All this space here and all along the back, because I have drawers there, I cannot use this here mount. I have to put it just right here on the edge, because that is where there is no drawer. If you are going to use the Radius 3 shock mount, or any shock mount for that matter, you are going to unscrew the hardware right here on the end. This is also adjustable. And you're just going to thread this on to the end right here. And then your microphone will sit right in here, and your plug will go in through the bottom there. And we're just going to thread on our Blue Yeti, which again is not a light microphone by any means. Here's where the Blue Yeti kind of falls on its face a little bit. It's fine like this, or if you want it up like this, you're fine. But how I prefer to have the Blue Yeti is like this. Which, as you see, it's kind of creeping up on its own a little bit. And I like to have it at an even more aggressive angle. And it just won't do that. Now, the Rode PSA 1 has a lot better adjustability to where you can actually have it. Like, ideally, I would like it like this. Out of my line of sight when I'm gaming, but also right at mouth level to where the capsule inside my microphone is going to pick it up when it's in its cardioid pattern. Now, I can get around this by, again, adjusting the tension in the bottom here, like I did with my personal boom arm. But the fact that it's so difficult to get this thing set where you want it for a $100 boom arm is a little bit frustrating. And this isn't just my experience with this boom arm. I have seen this exact complaint with so many users of this boom arm that if you want to put it in a fashion like this, which, you know, again, Rode PSA, even the Gator frameworks, has no issue with, the blue has such strong tension in there, it's actually over-tensioned to where it just, you can't really set it up how you want. But if you are going to have it fully extended like that, or up like that, it's not an issue whatsoever. You're going to be good to go. It's not an issue at all. But for a lot of people that are going to be streaming or, you know, doing some kind of video gaming, they want this down where their mouth level's at, so it's out of their line of sight, out of their peripherals, and it just makes it really difficult. Alrighty guys, I have the Blue Yeti Blackout on the Blue Compass boom arm here, and I have to say, cosmetically, it is a very handsome boom arm. In fact, I think it looks better than the Rode PSA 1 or the Gator. I have to say that lack of adjustability is rather frustrating. So what I do is I fine tune with that Phillips head screw in there, and then once I have it set, I try not to mess with it. What I do, I'll just lift this up and slide it out of the way when I'm not using it. Just like that. So whenever I'm not actually streaming or recording a YouTube vlog over here, this is just like that. And then whenever I do need it, bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. And it's in place. But that's not great, because if you are doing something like a podcast or an interview with somebody and they want to adjust their boom arm around, then you have to readjust for whatever microphone they prefer to use. Not to mention, even if it's yourself, you're the only person using this boom arm, so you have one dedicated microphone that you like to use. It's still, whenever you go to, you know, adjust it, I mean, I've spent 30 minutes off camera tweaking around, and it still has so much tension in there that it will not get to the exact position I want. So that is rather frustrating. But I will say, once you get a position that you like, just leave it here and just lift it up from this back portion here and swivel it on out of the way. Now I will say the swivel here is nice. It's incredibly durable, and it makes swiveling effortless. You know, I started with a $15 cheap Amazon generic one, and that had some issues. For one, the adjustability was horrible. It was super noisy because you have metal exposed springs, and every time you move it, it sounds like a hotel mattress. It's just it sounded not good at all. Not to mention, they're dangerous. They have exposed springs that if one of those snaps, it's going directly in your eye socket, right to your ocular cavity. As where this thing has an actual tubular frame built around it, so if the spring mechanism in here were to snap or anything, it's all encased. You're probably not going to get injured, but it will still be loud and jarring, and your microphone might go flying or dropping or something like that. I guess they're assuming that you're going to have a bowling ball weight microphone, because this is already a very heavy mic, but maybe they're assuming you have an even heavier mic, like a Blue Kiwi or something like that, and then maybe a shock mount, which adds even more weight. And that's what they expect you to use it with, as they do bundle this thing, like I said, with the Yeticaster, which comes with the radial shock mount, and the Blue Yeti, which are both heavy. So maybe they assume if you have that much weight on the end, you need that much tension. But, you know, it's too much. It's too much tension right here. So a little pro tip I was telling you guys about, where you actually do not need a shock mount at all, is just simply this. Do not have it bolted directly to your main desk. And I know, obviously, I'm not following my own advice here, but due to the design of this little side desk over here and this clamp, I cannot really latch onto this. But ideally, I would like to have this pushed a little bit closer and then have it mounted to this over here, so that way if I bang my desk or accidentally bump into it or something like that, there's no vibration traveling up the boom arm into the actual capsule of my microphone over here. Now, granted, having a boom arm does help to dampen that a lot. This actual mount down here does absorb a lot of vibration, and then the whole tubular design here will absorb a lot of that vibration. So you really don't need a shock mount, especially, like I said, if you have a little end table or side table and you mount directly to that. Even if you bump your main desk, there's no vibration being transferred to that second table over there, which is great. So a little pro tip there. Alrighty guys, over here at my PC, going to go ahead and share my screen here. I am in Streamlabs OBS or Slobs. And as you can see, my Blue Yeti microphone is casually right there in the high end of the green, right there into the yellow, which is ideal. That's what OBS and Streamlabs OBS recommend, is that your voice is in the yellow. I thought for the longest time it's supposed to be in the green, but they said nope, yellow is ideal. That's where your voice is going to be the most, well, not quiet for one. And then obviously when you start getting into the red, you're clipping and whatnot. I do have 3 plugins on my voice here. I have Noise Gate, EQ, and Compressor. These are all by a company called HYPR plugins. I have done a separate tutorial on that, but just real quick, if you Google HYPR plugins, go to their website. It is a free pack. I think it's like 50 megabytes, very small download size. Do not rename the file. Save it directly as is, and you'll be able to upload them as VST plugins right here into Streamlabs very, very easily, just by going to Filters, add a filter, type in the name for it, and then going to VST 2.0 plugin and selecting the plugin that you want, whether that's an equalizer, a compressor, a noise gate, whatever you want. So yeah, sounds really good. As you can see, my microphone is out of the picture here. Now, if I want it shown in the picture for a little bit of pizzazz or a little bit of flavor, make me look like some kind of a cool podcaster or something, because it is a very handsome looking microphone and boom arm. You know, you got the blue logo right there, so you can lift it up a little bit, but then it's like right there in my line of vision. So I like to keep it down here. Can lift it up just a skosh like that if I, again, want just the cosmetic factor of having my microphone shown. But yeah, overall, just a very, very good boom arm. The only complaint I have, like I said, is the adjustability isn't as good as something like the PSA-1, but I will say cosmetically it looks better on camera, not only on this end, but also just in your setup in general. It's a lot cleaner. The cable management's very good. It's very durable. Like I said, Blue is a great company when it comes to customer service and warranty. And they make high quality products, whether that's their microphones or their accessories for their microphones. So overall, I do personally recommend the Blue Compass. I have for the longest time, but again, I would also recommend checking out the PSA-1 and the Gator Works, because those are also very, very good boom arms as well. The Gator Works is $30 more expensive than the other 2 models at $130, and I most likely will be having those 2 boom arms on the channel in the near future, so I can do a side-by-side comparison of the 3. And that's going to do it, guys. I will have linked in the description below the Compass, just the boom arm, and then also the Yeticaster, which I do recommend. Honestly, you don't need that shock mount in there, but honestly, it's still a good value just to get the Compass and the Blue Yeti Blackout, and then you can sell the shock mount or test around a little bit. Maybe you are one of the people that prefer to have it on, and there's nothing wrong with that. So those will be linked in the description below. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.